1938 has been a year of thunderous eruption. Again, a year in which one continuous news story overshadows all others. War. War in China. Japanese planes circle over Hankow. A puff of smoke rises, a crash, then another and another, until the grey pall of disaster spreads over all China. War in Spain. Squadrons of black-wing bombers over Barcelona, and in a few moments more than 400 have been torn to fragments. Even nature joins in the general upheaval. Ice pours over the Niagara Rapids, piling up 90 feet high against the base of the famous bridge, and man's work crumbles before the force of nature. But kings and princes still take their share of the world's floodlight. In Egypt, 17-year-old King Farouk takes 16-year-old Farida to be his queen, and a royal baby is christened at The Hague. Crown Princess Juliana of Holland carries her daughter, Beatrix Wilhelmina. And our own King and Queen continue to play their part in the life of the empire, supporting Britain's industries. One of Britain's outstanding achievements has been the Mayo plane. Two machines as one until they part in mid-air. The world shakes a little as the barriers come down, and the Nazi machine steamrollers ancient Austria into a province of the German Reich. Sport, the Grand National, 36 starters and beachers, takes its toll. And in a neck-and-neck finish, Battleship on this side, though fought by a riderless horse, wins the toughest steeplechase in the world. And Battleship was ridden by a 17-year-old jockey, the youngest ever to win the race. The boat race is one of the closest in living memory. Past Chiswick, Cambridge almost draw level, but at the finish it's Oxford, to prove for the second year that they've broken the hoodoo. St. Margaret's, Westminster, the wedding of Miss Anne Bowes-Lyon, niece of the Queen, to Viscount Anson, and among the guests are their Majesties with Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret. Wembley, the cup final. In the last minute of extra time, Much is laid out by a foul, and Much takes the penalty kick. And that's how Preston North End win the cup from Huddersfield Town. And for today, Tom Smith becomes the proudest man in the world. From Wembley Stadium to Ibrox Park, Glasgow, for the opening of the Empire exhibition, Britain's answer to a world of nationalist propaganda, where Britain shows the world how the Empire lives and how the Empire works.
I have the greatest pleasure in declaring it open.
And then, through mile after mile of exhibits, their Majesties begin the royal tour of the British Empire in Scotland. Hitler goes to Rome. And in Britain, the balloons go up. 500 flying elephants to hang a protective curtain of steel wire round London. Epsom, the Derby. Pathé Gazette brings out the world's largest newsreel lens to bring you superb close-ups of the most important of Epsom's 500,000 visitors. Unposed pictures, such as you can see only on the newsreel screen. And down the straight comes a mysterious horse like a stone from a catapult to make Croix Roussel from France the winner of the Derby of 1938. The king of an island nation takes command of his fleet, and the might of Britain puts to sea. Wimbledon. America's Donald Budge beats Austin to win the men's singles. But Budge is so unbelievably good that more news is made by the battle of the two Helens, Helen Jacobs and Helen Wills Moody. And against the Helen Jacobs, who twisted her ankle, Helen Wills Moody wins the championship for the 8th time. Australia, flirting with death on the speed track, but this time death takes control. 10 seriously injured in one of the worst crashes in the history of motor racing. In their ramshackle machine, a merry-eyed Irishman flies the Atlantic by mistake, and Wrong-Way Corrigan is a world hero. With Their Majesties' visit to Paris, Britain and France demonstrate the solidarity of the Anglo-French axis. They dine with President Lebrun in all the splendor of the time of Louis XIV. Bagatelle gardens of Paris, Republican France salutes Britain's king and queen with music and dancing, with cries of Vive le Roi. On his return, His Majesty breaks his holiday for a day at his camp, where public schoolboys holiday with boys from industrial areas. The fifth test at the Oval, and Len Hutton makes cricket history with a record score. And among the first to congratulate him is Australia's Don Bradman. Fastest man on earth is George Easton. The average of his 2 runs is nearly 360 miles an hour. Why not make him a speed cop? Then the frontiers of Europe are threatened. Mr. Chamberlain's momentous decision, the meeting at Berchtesgaden. Then Godesberg with the ominous roar of Germany's army mobilizing. And as the negotiations reach a deadlock, Britain prepares. With gas masks. With men joining the forces. And then Munich. Final effort for peace as 4 great powers of Europe meet in the democratic way, round a table. And 4 great powers sign a pact that shapes a new Europe. And on the Premier's return, he stands on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. Within a few hours, the Nazi machine sweeps into Czechoslovakia. Two royal brothers are reunited in Paris. The Duke and Duchess of Gloucester meet the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Non-stop. 3 RAF machines and 9 RAF pilots fly further than man has ever traveled in one hop. 7,162 miles from Egypt to Australia, a world record for Britain. The greatest ship of all time is launched from a Clydebank yard by Her Majesty the Queen.
With hope and prayer in our hearts, we send forth upon her mission this noble ship.
Pact. Lord Perth signs for Britain and Count Chano for Italy. The world watches the rise of Europe's new frontiers of concrete and steel. Germany's Siegfried Line, which 500,000 men are rushing to completion. And Germany looks across the Rhine towards the Maginot Line of France. 1938 will be remembered as the year in which the French government first permitted the newsreels to take pictures inside the greatest line of fortifications the world has ever seen. A vast underground city where 250,000 fighting men can live and work without coming to the surface for months on end. world is prepared. And as the eruptions of the old year pass, we welcome the new dawn of preparedness for peace. We join hands in the new spirit of joy and friendship. The world shakes a little as the barriers come down, and the Nazi machine steamrollers ancient Austria into a province of the German Reich. And in Era, the army marches too. For the great St. Patrick's Day parade, Minister for Defense Aiken takes the salute. And once again all the world waits for Dublin and the results of the sweep on the Grand National. In 1938, there are 36 starters, and as usual, Beechers takes its toll. And in a neck-and-neck finish, Battleship on this side, though pulled by a riderless horse, wins the toughest steeplechase in the world. And Battleship was ridden by a 17-year-old jockey, the youngest ever to win the race. The boat race is one of the closest in living memory. Past Chiswick, Cambridge almost draw level, but at the finish it's Oxford to prove for the second year that they've broken the hoodoo. Dublin in June finds a 78-year-old poet-playwright, Dr. Douglas Hyde, installed as the first president of ERA. As if to prove her tolerance, Catholic ERA elects a Protestant president. And one of the new leaders' first duties is to attend the great Dublin show. Hitler goes to Rome. Epsom, the Derby. And 500,000 people are here to see the world's greatest horse race. Round Tattenham Corner, the Pathé Gazette is using the world's largest newsreel lens to film a mysterious horse shoot down the straight like a stone from a catapult to make Roussel from France the winner of the Derby of 1938. Wimbledon. America's Donald Budge beats Austin to win the men's singles. Budge is so unbelievably good that more news is made by the battle of the two Helens, Helen Jacobs and Helen Wills Moody. And against a Helen Jacobs who twists her ankle, Helen Wills Moody wins the championship for the 8th time. In a ramshackle machine, a merry-eyed Irishman flies the Atlantic by mistake, and Wrong-Way Corrigan is a world hero. It's a great day in ERA's history when her troops take over from Britain the manning of the Spike Island Fortress in Cork Harbour, which has been a British military post for more than 150 years. It's the first stage in the removal of British troops from Irish soil under the Anglo-ERA Agreement. And Prime Minister de Valera arrives to hoist the tricolour of ERA as the guns boom their salute.